Let us begin. Who is Xavier Rainey? Were you at the Rotary International Convention in Toronto? If so, you may have heard the thought-provoking speaker from Chicago, Xavier Rainey. Raymie's early years were in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the country. The odds to succeed were stacked against him. It was possible for him to succeed, possible, but not probable. Yet, Raymie did succeed. He studied economics at DePaul University, managed multiple millions of dollars in philanthropic grants, taught social justice at the University of Chicago, and much more. Today he is a Rotarian in Proviso, Illinois, and CEO of his consulting firm called Justice Informed, which happens to be the only LLC in America having the word justice in its name. Question number 2. What does Raymie think about diversity in the workplace? Diversifying the workplace, he says, is not about diversity. He tells his clients, who are nonprofits, non-governmental agencies, foundations, corporations, and universities, he tells them to scrap everything that they have been told about racial relations. Next, he talks about asking the right question, which is not, how can we create more diversity? Because the answer would be too simple. Just go find people who are not white, not male, not heterosexual, people who are not of a privileged group, and hire them. Instead, ask the harder question. What are the root causes of racism? Question 3.
Okay.
What are root causes of racism? In summary, 2 issues: apathy and lack of urgency. Raymie states that racism in his early childhood was not due to a lack of character. It was the violence of apathy in public policy that gave birth to the guns and the gangs. He believes that apathy, a lack of concern, leads to intentional ignorance, and ignorance allied with power is the greatest threat that justice can ever have. Systemic racism will continue to fester as long as we ignore its presence in our homes, in our businesses, and in our government. Another cause of racism is that leaders lack a sense of urgency. He says people in power are too fragile to move at the pace needed for change. For example, racial progress moves at the pace of white fragility, white comfortability. Likewise, gender progress moves at the pace of male comfortability, and so on. Question number 4. How can Americans become more like the famous words, "we the people"? One way, he says, is to recognize the tension that pervades America. Tension between the founding ideals of the United States and the ugly realities of our country's past, including slavery, the slaughter of indigenous people, and a system that often diminishes the contributions of women and people of color. He says we must begin with Rotary's first step to building peace. Is it the truth? He believes we need to change our words, change our narrative, and start sharing the true history of America. Start building a land where cultural acceptance is the norm. And stop making people close off part of their lives in order to assimilate, so so others will not feel awkward by their difference. Question 5. What challenge does Xavier Rainey offer Rotary? Early in his career, he had a fundraising job, and his boss sat him down and told him, Xavier, your job is not to get people to give a donation. Your job is to convince them to give something so big that it changes who they are. Rotarians know just what that feels like. In conclusion, Raymie's last words at the 2018 convention remind us we must continue to elevate our civic responsibility and global relationships, and we must continue to make the possible probable.